Good morning. Well, sometimes it's quite heartening and encouraging to note that the politicians can have good ideas. Yes. The initiative, the Youth Advisory Council initiative by Justin Trudeau is a quite a welcome sign. The need to involve youth in building up the country, in creating an environment where there's participation, there's collaboration, is always welcome. Whatever the reason may be, and you can be sure the reason is a political one. The youth between the age of 19 to 26 is the largest voting bloc. And if you can somehow or the other involve that voting bloc into your own aim, into your own ambit of influence, that's quite an achievement for any politician. 9,926 people applied for Prime Minister's Youth Initiative. Quite a lot, but still not quite sufficient from the Prime Minister's point of view. He has extended the date of application till October 9. Now the point is, these almost 10,000 people who have applied, what are they going to do? How are they going to be involved? And how is their involvement going to impact the country as a whole? As far as the political side is concerned, I think Justin Trudeau should take care that until and unless there is active involvement, it would not lead to a positive sign, but would in fact be responsible for creating further frustration. Obama suffered from this. 2.8 million youth who voted for him in 2008 elections were so frustrated that the promised change was simply not there, that these 2.8 million did not vote for him 2012 election. And that is why the 2012 election was not such a shining blockbuster as 2008 was. So, youth, until and unless it's fully involved, can be a double-edged sword. A frustrated youth is worse than an indifferent youth. Let's not forget that. Now, as I said earlier, it's an excellent idea to involve youth, but also not forget this at the same time, that the way to the hell is paved with good intentions. Good intentions must be worked out well. And there are certain basics on which they should be worked out well. First is the transparency. The transparency in the process of their selection and transparency in the process of working thereafter. Now, the Liberal government till now has been dealing with entitlements, not with the idea of sacrifice. All these politicians, they always are in favor of entitlement, but the gross entitlement that we have seen in the last few months has broken all records of greed, avarice, and entitlement in Canada. Now, when youth is associated with that sort of milieu, the result is absolute frustration. Youth by nature is idealist. Youth by nature is dedicated. Youth by nature hates, abhors, detests selfishness and greed. And those are the hallmarks of the Liberal Party today. They were not at one time. We had liberals who were great, and we remember them for that. But the present leadership is absolutely only interested in its own entitlement rather than for the country. Now come to the second point. So first is the transparency. Second is collaboration. If the youth are going to be just listening blocks, that you go to them, talk to them, pretend to listen to them, and then come back, this would heighten their sense of alienation. And alienated youth is neither good for the party, not for the country, not for themselves. So there has to be an active interaction, which I don't see happening at present. The third part is collaboration. Who is going to administer these advisory councils? Are they going to be self-administered? Or are they going to be administered by the party caucus? Or are they going to be administered by the bureaucrats? And there's a very clear perception in the people that in case the caucus members, other politicians administer the program, this shall be self-defeating. Because A, the politicians by and large do not have vision here in this country. By and large, some people are great visionaries, I don't deny it. And bureaucrats, if they administer it, then they are going either to follow their own whims or carry out the dictates of their political masters. So what's the way out? The way out is to create a self-mechanism forum, self-administration, self-management, a special forum consisting of the representatives of the bureaucrats and avoiding politicians as far as possible, and bureaucrats and the youth, and let that be administered. Bureaucrats should have an advisory role. Youth should have the main motivating and active role. The role of the bureaucrats should be that of a mentor, but the management should be by the mentee themselves. Now, so we have seen A, transparency, B, collaboration, C, management. Now the D part, what are these advisory councils going to do? Are they going to be the pads, the listening pads of the politicians? Are they going to formulate some policies and present it to the government for action? As the name says, they are advisory policies. Now, what aspect of the government are you going to hand over to them? The policy at present is decided by the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, and they are taken an oath to keep the confidentiality. When 9,926 people are involved in policy formulation, what sort of a confidentiality you expect? That's a $1 million question. A, there is no confidentiality, no guarantee of that. B, would the policy formulated by them be accepted by the government? It is more of a recommendatory body than a policy formulation. The name is wrong. It's advisory. Okay. Now, if the advisory is there, suppose they want to give advice on the defense, would all the documents and all the information be available to them? Many a time the information is not available even to the parliament, and for very correct reasons, because the security of the country depends on maintaining certain items confidential. It's only shared on need to know. How do you decide that in this 9,926 people, who needs to know what? And in case you do not share the information with them, how can they advise you? So this is a typical catch-22 situation. Damned if you are, damned if you are not. You have to tread a very fine line. And that fine line, friends, is that you have got to trust these people. Give them certain those areas and those sectors to advise in which there is no confidentiality involved. Involve them in areas and sectors like health, education, infrastructure build-up, integration of the society, bridge building among the various communities and the various cultures to get over the divisive, harmful effects of the stupid concept of multiculturalism. Let Canadian values be propagated by this advisory council, because these are the citizens of tomorrow. These are the leaders of tomorrow. Let them breathe fresh air. Let them not be saddled by stale, out of date, nationally injurious concepts that had been ruling the minds of the people and of the leaders till now. So these parameters, transparency, collaboration, division of subjects, selection of subjects, these are important areas. And then I had talked of the management of these policies. Now the second question, how do you A, react to the suggestions, B, and communicate whether these suggestions are accepted or not accepted, and if they are not accepted, why they are not accepted. You know, it's very easy to constitute a council, take their opinion, and then what normally happens is, either you throw them in the waste paper basket, you feel content that they have given you a suggestion, so either you throw in the waste paper basket or you sleep over it. And in very rare instances, you might act on that, and that too without reference to them. If you just sleep over it, this is going to disenchant them. If you ignore it, it is going to make them feel frustrated. If you accept it without reference to them, it is going to make them unhappy and annoy them. Again, the path is very convoluted path and is full of thorns. How far is this government competent to remove the thorns and make the path smooth, trouble-free, for the best satisfaction of the participants and of the nation as a whole? Again, I do not object to the idea. It's a great idea. I object to the way it's going to be implemented. Looking at the whole thing, I find that the government, the political part of the government, is trying to make it only as a tool to project its political views. Till now, I have not come across a single document or a statement by the Prime Minister or by any other responsible leader who has given a vision of what these advisory councils are going to be. What is going to be their mandate? What is going to be the limitation? How are the recommendations going to be accepted? How would the debates be conducted? How would the discussions be done? How would the things be managed? And most importantly, how would the feedback be given to them? The communication, the interaction, which is most important, has not been delineated, has not been spelled out. The whole thing is half-baked at present, it looks to me. Maybe the government has done something, but then they should come out with it, because these 9,926 people must not be made to feel a sense of ennui and frustration. Sometimes we have a clear deja vu at that time, and that's what's to be avoided. Youth councils, youth advisories, a good way to involve people. But any good way, in case the implementation is improper, would be a disaster. It's better to let the things remain as they are than to change for the worse. You see, an excellent idea, in case the things are not worked out, can make the feel really bad. And it's not difficult. The Prime Minister should have come up with a complete scheme, aims of the council, their parameters of their work, their means of communication, the means of their management, the means of their feedback. Identify the various aspects in which they will work on, rather than giving an omnibus statement that they'll be advising. Had those parameters been worked out, these councils would have been a great success. Even now it's not very late. It's quite possible. It needs only about 10 to 15 days work of 3 to 4 good people, and the whole thing can be worked out in the best interest of the country, of the youth, of the nation, and of the politicians themselves. Let them for once act as statesmen, capable, clear-headed, visionary, rather than playing with high-flown ideas implemented badly. Thank you.